It is way too dry in the house, only 26%. It is extremely uncomfortable in here. I've had this little vaporizer on for the last week or two, and it was holding up until the last few days when the wind just got out of hand and I've had to have the wood stove running up so hot. So it's time to get the big one out now. It's currently dwelling within the attic. I don't normally put things up there that are plastic, but I put this up there just because I needed to clean out some space downstairs. And I had always intended to go back up there and take it down a couple weeks later, but it never happened. So it's been up there for a couple months, which is not great, but hopefully it's not screwed up. Hopefully it doesn't fall and break into a million pieces during this operation. Okay, that wasn't too bad. I don't remember what this looked like before, definitively, but I don't think it was quite that yellow. It looks kind of yellow to me now. Well, that's why you don't put things in the attic. It was only up there for a few months, and I think it still had a pretty negative effect. Well, hopefully it didn't damage anything too bad and it's not too brittle to work. This was the first time I'd been in the attic since I put this fan here, and it worked out pretty well. I just put that one blade kind of through the ladder and I was able to get in there just fine. It doesn't really overlap that far. It's going to be moved over maybe 2 inches to the left, and it might just barely come to the edge at that point, but it's nowhere near as obtrusive into the attic hatchway as I thought it was going to be. This definitely did yellow. This is like a shade or two darker than the inside. Well, that's 100% on me. I know better than to put stuff up there. I should never have put this up there. That's all yellowed in there. You look at the difference between this and that. It's not bad, but that's definitely yellowed compared to this. So, not good. I don't think you can buy these anymore either. Let's get this cleaned up, and hopefully nothing is brittle beyond the point of usability. It will never be going in the attic again, that's for sure. Now, in my defense, this did also sit in the living room in the sun all year last year, so that could have contributed it too. I don't know. I don't know if the heat or the moisture and so forth in the attic or the sun would yellow it more. Quite possibly it's a combination of both, but either way it's not going back up there. Never should have been there to begin with. That's breaking down considerably, that one hose there. And this one, I just turned this off. This was for this, the water level thing, and it's like, it just adds another thing to have to clean, and so I just kind of cancel that out. This should probably be opened up and cleaned. This is the kind of stuff I'm worried about it, you know, breaking when I try to pry it apart. It doesn't seem like it got moldy at all. It didn't really seem to get moldy since I used it on the water here. You know, at the old location, this thing was a nightmare. It would get full of mold in, you know, a couple of days. Here it didn't seem so bad. I guess because we have public water here, it's treated. Kind of makes you wonder if you really should be drinking it though, if there's that much stuff in there that it doesn't get moldy at all. Probably should just replace these hoses at this point. Is this on the inside or the outside? Seems like it's, I can't tell. Well, we can always run some blech, slip through there and clean it up. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and turn it on because it is so uncomfortable in the house. Looks like we've got a fairly new filter in there. A little dusty. I really didn't intend for this to be up there long term. It was only supposed to be up there for a couple of days. And life happened and I just forgot about it. So I would have at least covered it. Prevent it from getting all dusty like this. Yeah, this is a great humidifier in terms of performance, but it's like the design for cleaning is horrible. I mean, there's so many little crevices and cracks and all these little spaces where the sludge grows in there. It's just almost impossible to clean. It's so difficult to deal with. I don't know why it was designed like that. There was just zero intention to ever clean this thing, is what it seems like. A couple of the casters are not working, which is going to be a major inconvenience when trying to fill it up. So let's see if we can fix these. They're probably just clogged with hair, would be my guess. Those two are not working properly. These are a little stiff, but they are working. I would rather service them all, if possible. No, that might not come off of there. I think we're just going to leave it alone. I wonder if these just kind of pry apart. I'm going to go very gently, see if it starts to go. Don't seem like it. Maybe these are not serviceable. No, I think it definitely should pop off. It's just a question of can we do it without it breaking. And that question has an answer, but it might not be one that we like. I do think this would pop off if we could get the right leverage on there. Looks like the shaft is corroded and full of hair. I'm sure I could fix that if I could get it off, but It does not seem interested in coming off. No, it's not going to come off. Oh, funny enough, it's working now. No, you know what happened? I just pulled it to one side and it kind of freed up. Now the other side's messed up. All right, I can't fix these. These are not meant to be fixed. I can probably replace these. They look like they're a pretty standard size. I might even have some of these on hand. Well, let's fill it up, and I guess I'll just have to carry it into place. This takes a long time to fill. I think it holds about 3.5 gallons in there and maybe 1.5 gallons in the little jug thing. You notice that little nub right there? It's the same nub that you'll see in the center of the Lasko 3733 box fan blade. There's got to be a similar type mold that Lasko uses to make the blades as they use to make this. So I usually fill it up about 3/4 to an inch off of where that nub is, and that's about where the full line is. Alright, that should be about good. I will fill up the jug as well, and we'll put that in here. See if it fills up anymore. And now I gotta go get the machine and carry it in place, which is a little dodgy because the plastic is not super thin. I mean, it's not super thick. It's not really meant to be carried while it's full. And I wonder if one of these days the whole thing is just gonna split apart while I carry it. Hence the reason why the casters are there, because it's a couple gallons of water. It's kind of heavy, but they're busted. Alright, so we set this here by the wood stove. And we'll plug this into the power bar. Fortunately, this thing has the blue plug, so the blue plug will keep us safe. Very important. Always want to have that blue plug. Now there is a bit of a drawback to this, and that is the fact that the evaporation process also cools the air, so it's a bit of an oxymoron, I guess you could say, because when we have this running, we have to run the stove a little bit hotter, which makes it even drier. So it is what it is. Now I'll fill this thing up. This takes a long time to fill as well. That's why I prefer to just take the whole unit in here and fill it the way that I did. Now tonight, because we're just starting out using this, it might go through all the water tonight. It'll put a couple gallons out a day. It's a very, very powerful machine. The humidity is just like the temperature. All the objects in the house, the building itself, all absorbs and holds moisture. And so as this runs, you know, the couch, the walls, the table, the chairs, everything is going to start absorbing the moisture that goes into the air. So it's going to take some time to get the moisture level up. You know, once the house is saturated, if you will, and everything has absorbed the temperature or the humidity, then it goes up quicker. Let's see if this is leaking. No, that's not bad. Guess it doesn't really matter if it drips anyways. It's so stinking dry in the house, it'll evaporate in a couple minutes probably. Okay, I didn't hear any water drip in there, so I think it's got the full level. So we'll have to adjust the thermostat because it's satisfied right now, and that's obviously way too dry. So let's turn this down. The fan seems reasonably free. I hear the water moving around. And go around there. There is a limitation in this room. We can't bring it up too high because the windows will start to drip real bad, because they're only single pane windows, so there's very little thermal barrier. So I usually can't raise it much above like 35%. But, you know, 35 to 40 is tolerable. Ideally in the wintertime, like 45 to 50 is better because it makes it feel a little warmer. But once you dip below 30 and you're in these 20s, I've seen it go down to like 11% in here. That's not good. It's not good for the building. It's not good for you. It's not good for Christmas tree. It's just not good. You get static shock everywhere. So I try to keep it at least 35 or so. To prevent that. So this is working. When I go to sleep, I'll probably put it up to medium, but I usually have to leave it on low during the day because it's just so loud. Actually, it's on medium right now. Low is tolerable, but anything above low is it's pretty loud. Need to leave it on high for now just because it's so stinking dry in here. Next, we're going to set up the one for the bedroom and the computer room. This one sits on the carpet, so I like to just take a little piece of wood and put it on there to give it some more stability so it doesn't spill. And then I put a piece of plastic over the piece of wood so that it's a little more water resistant. I'm not going to use too much tape, just a little tape. Alright, so that's what we got for vaporizers, or humidifiers. This one's an evaporizer, I guess. The Lasko 1128. This might need a new filter. That filter didn't look dirty, but sometimes when it gets old, it like gets shriveled on the edges, and then there's not a good airflow through the filter. The air just kind of goes around the filter. Humidity in here hasn't budged. It's still 26. Might not move for a little while. Or it might also need a new filter. Be able to tell based on how it works overnight. And then we have this one down here, which covers the bedroom and the computer room. Let's see, in here it is 35%, so this doesn't need to do much down here. If it gets up to 40, that's comfortable enough. I like it a little more humid in the bedroom because my throat and eyes tend to get very dry while I'm sleeping. But this will work fine for down here. You know, when I used to use these at the old location, I thought these were so stupid and worthless because they're too small. It never seemed like they did anything. And then when I use them here, it's like, oh, they're actually pretty effective. And the difference is the old location had forced hot air heating, so the air would exchange in the room while the heat was running, so the unit was more or less being spread throughout the entire house. We don't have that here, so the moisture kind of stays put. Although with all these fans and everything going, it is kind of moving around a fair bit, but these seem to work just fine. I have a second one of these, which I'll put on if it gets really cold. Just put it next to that one, but for now I don't think we'll need it.